Hi everybody, I haven't done a talkie video for ages and I don't know whether I've got the light correct, the microphone turned on properly. Let's just see how it goes. So what I thought I would do is, now that this 10-week plan, which took a lot longer than 10 weeks, is over, just do a little roundup of what I think I've learnt from it. Just to really consolidate it for me, I think, really more than anything. So the first thing I've learnt is don't give up. I'd listened to a talk by one of my heroes, Tracy. I'll give you a little link to his channel here. I think at the beginning of this process, I listened to a talk that he did about the difference between people who succeed and reach their goals and people who don't, is the people who reach their goals just don't give up. And he went through quite a few steps of, why it's so important not to give up and keep going. I think for me, the challenge in not giving up is making sure I don't second guess myself as to why I set out on the process to start with. I think that's one of the things that I always worry about. I think, oh, am I doing the right thing? Was this the right thing to do? When things are going wrong and things are challenging, you sort of think, was it right to be doing this in the first place? Anyway, I just kept going. There was a couple of occasions where I thought, oh yeah, this really isn't the right thing to do. And then on one occasion where I'd kind of really laid it down and let it go, I just felt such a sense of loss that I thought, okay, maybe I shouldn't have laid it down. And I kept going. And I am so glad that I got to the end of this process and thought, I didn't give up and I succeeded. The second thing I learned was about how to find or restore my muchness. I've talked about this before in relation to Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland film, and that amazing phrase that the Johnny Depp character comes out with, the Mad Hatter: you look like the same Alice, but you don't have the same muchness. And then a bit later on he goes, oh, you're much muchier now, or something like that. That's something that really stuck with me. I thought, yes, I've got to find my muchness. And as the process went on, I felt much muchier. Something else was, when I was feeling a bit depleted in muchness, was to think, no, I have got this in me and I am just going to fake it till I make it, and embraced a lot of the lessons from Amy Cuddy's TED Talk about your body language shapes who you are. And she's got all sorts of body poses that actually release hormones, things like testosterone. Yeah, go and watch that video. Again, I'll put a link here. And I found that really worked. Things like the cheers pose and the Wonder Woman pose. You can't see it because I've just got my head and shoulders in shot. Go and watch that video. It will really help. Yeah, so I just, every time I felt a bit kind of meh, I just, no, I can do it. And number 4, I've mentioned this before as well, do it afraid. So even when I felt like quaking in my boots, I thought, no, I'm just going to do it anyway because it's something that has to be done, whatever it was, making a phone call that was going to be a bit challenging or whatever. And speaking of challenging things, number 5, I've mentioned this before, I had a bit of a challenging solicitor and I was very pleased with myself. I did lots and lots of talky bits in the vlogs about the whole process, and I did mention this in one of those, but I think it's a really important one, and it's to do with transaction analysis, and it's to do with not reacting out of things that trigger emotions from past experiences, or things that you just think, well, that's the way things are and that shouldn't be happening, but actually just kind of processing things and staying calm and remaining in your adult. And in relation to transaction analysis, your adult is the reprocessed experiences or things that you've been told are the right thing until you're at a place where you know what is the right thing for you and what you think is the right thing, and not reacting and not getting driven by emotions and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think I behaved maturely and dealt with things in a non-reactionary way. And yeah, I was pleased with myself with that. There were quite a number of disasters, and the thing that I learnt about it, I've learnt these things in life before, but you know, this was another kind of consolidating lesson, was that disaster is not the end. So I just kept going and trying to overcome whatever it was that happened, and just remembered, yeah, this thing that seems like a disaster, it's just a bit of a setback, and I've just got to work out how to deal with it, and it's not the end. From the beginning of the process and along the way when there was different tasks to be done, just working out initially what were all the tasks that had to be achieved in order to reach the goal, and within each task, somebody's at the door. That's quite exciting. I just hope this tripod doesn't fall over. I don't know why I put it on the bed. Right, am I in focus? I think maybe. Yeah, so here's an envelope addressed to me, and it is from my friend Richenda, who's an artist, and she did a crowdfunding thing for, I think, this project, this book. And so I put in a donation that gave me a book. I'm going to open it. Yeah, so talking about projects and not giving up. It's called Ocean Swell. I'll put all the links here. And yeah, look, my little prize for being part of her crowdfunding. Lovely. That's going to be really fun. So, working out the tasks to achieve the goal, and then within each task, working out what the actions are in order to complete the task. So that's been a real key thing, consolidating thing. So another thing that really fits in with working out what tasks and what actions all add up to reaching your goal, another thing is your sense of what you want to do rather than what you ought to do or should do. So if you have a real sense of, yeah, this is something I want to do, then you'll have the motivation to do it. Maybe that's an 11th thing, or I don't know. Does it really matter? Something that I've really experienced in this is that the rewards are so much greater than you would imagine. The sense of reward just in achieving the goal was way more than I imagined. I think sometimes I've decided to give up on things before because I've kind of thought, well, what is the end result really going to give me or benefit me with? And I've forgotten about the fact that just achieving something releases reward hormones or whatever they are, synapses, or I don't know what all these things are, enzymes. Yeah, it just releases those in your brain anyway, and so that's an enormous benefit in itself. Now, something that I was concerned about was because, particularly as it got really intense towards the end, is the come down that you feel after a big project. And I have to admit that I am struggling a little bit with it. So I had braced myself for that anyway, and just about been managing it. And the 10th thing, although I think I've actually mentioned 11, but anyway, is about keeping your support team near. And I have been seeing my therapist, and I think I mentioned last week that I've had my final session with her, and that was really good to have her on hand and talk about things that I was struggling with, and she was reminding me of the tools that I needed to use to strengthen myself, strengthen my resilience, seeing friends regularly, seeing Debbie. Also, I've been going for these coaching sessions, so I'd really put lots of things in place because I knew it was going to be a challenging few weeks, months. Yeah, so those are the 10 things I've learnt, and thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, you guys, and please comment below on what you have got out of this. I've had lots of lovely comments along the way and really encouraging things, congratulating me on succeeding and not giving up, and that's just been a tremendous support as well. You've been part of my support team, and yeah, thank you again for joining me on this journey, and I hope you've learnt some of these lessons and can embrace them into challenges that you're taking on. See you next time.